has become something of a dying art in our society. We are here at Toastmasters to become better communicators. Listening, the art of listening, it can be a major contributing factor to our ability to relate, translate, communicate, interpret, and define our own purpose in life as well as our relationship with others. Listening is primarily auditory, but it also involves body language, eye contact, physical position. You can determine by listening visually whether people are paying attention, and listening or paying attention to the words that you're saying and what they mean. And if you see a confused look on someone's face, it may be that you've done what we all do, misspoken, said something that you didn't intend to say, the words came out wrong, but your brain knew what you were trying to communicate. So being sensitive to the signals and the feedback from the audience are very important. But let's talk about the value of listening and what it can do in our real personal lives on a day-by-day basis. Not only can it help us to become a better Toastmaster because we can more intelligently, succinctly, and effectively communicate what we're thinking by translating it into words and body language, we can also get the same sort of feedback from those we're listening to learn characteristics of their speech and their communication style that we like, that we may want to try to adapt or learn. And we can also learn, unfortunately, things, or fortunately, things that we don't like. One of the most difficult things for me is to watch a presenter who's leading an informative educational session, presenting their vast, abundant knowledge on a topic that they're extremely skilled in, and to hear that presenter over and over through the presentation use a lot of filler words that are not necessary, where silence would be better. The like, I mean, you know, those things can be totally excluded, and it all comes with practice. Listening and becoming a better listener helps us to put our brain and our response signals on hold for just a moment and be fully engrossed in what that individual is saying. In Scott's speech, the poem, I was right there in the snow and right there at that fire. I could see it, and I wasn't thinking about anything else. So I got a huge amount of the impact of that translation. Thank you. Listening can help us in our businesses, whatever we're doing, our role for gainful employment, occupation, business, transaction, or even personal lives, because it helps us get clarity on what the other person is saying and trying to communicate. And if we're not clear, we have the opportunity to say, here's what I think I heard you say. Let me sort of read that back to you and tell me if I understood correctly. That does a couple of things. It bonds us better to the person we're talking to. It shows them that we really do value what they're saying and that we really do want to understand. Of course, it helps if you're honest and you really do want to understand. That was one of the causes of Barbara Walters becoming one of the first successful females on television 40 years ago or whenever. She wrote a book about it called How to Talk with Practically Anybody About Anything. I read the book. I thought it was fascinating. Her whole attitude was about getting to know and understand what someone is talking about and why they're doing what they do. And it didn't matter how off the wall or crazy what they were doing was or sounded, or how foreign or diametrically opposed to her viewpoint it might be. She wanted to tap into their brain and see what caused them to do this. And as a result, at the time, she became famous as one of the best interviewers on TV at her time. And she broke ground, paved new pathways for women in journalism. Listening helps us in our business to do a better job of customer service, because we can ask our customers and clients how happy they are, why they're happy, and is there anything we can do better, and we can listen to the response. And then we can structure our actions to deal with that. We can reinforce our own actions that are positive, that we get positive feedback on, and we can take action to reassess where we might have failed or been a little weak or could improve. And it all takes honest listening. Listening can help when we're on the receiving end of customer service. We can listen to the foreign voice or the voice in Kenosha, Wisconsin, or wherever we're calling, who's supposed to provide customer service to us. And when they say, I really want you to be happy, and they say, here's the solution, we're not happy with the solution, we can then regurgitate those words to them and say, okay, you really wanted me to be happy, well, I have to tell you, I'm not. And I'll tell you why, and here's what I think you should do. So it helps that process in both directions. It also helps in the negotiation process. Oftentimes, if you're negotiating, and it's a hard-nosed negotiation where there's got to be some give and take on both sides, Mr. Trump may be the best at this, I don't know. You listen to what the other person is saying and you let them talk. And if you do, they might just volunteer what they're willing to give up without you having to ask for it. I experienced that earlier this week. If you're listening, you then know where they stand, and you can have a meeting of the minds or coming together to find common ground sooner. Listening is also important in daily life with people of a different persuasion or perspective, philosophy, religion, attitude about politics, government, as the case may be. Because it presents an opportunity for us, the listener, to engage without having to defend our position or challenge the other person's position. It presents an opportunity for me, the listener, to say, okay, I'm okay. Please explain, did you mean this? And not challenge it. And be okay with the outcome, realizing that we're not all going to agree on every single thing. But listening allows us to explore a little bit and see if there's some common ground that we can relate on, that we can be happy about. And it allows us overall to become better communicators. I call it the art of listening. I think it's a dying art because of preoccupation with distractions and technology and lots of other things, too many things that we're not all necessarily designed to do in the human condition. But that's my opinion. I'll stick with listening, and I'll stay kind of old-fashioned, and I'll adapt somewhat to the technology, but I'm not going to give up the art of listening.